Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video I will be showing you how I embroidered this bumblebee. It was very fun process and I actually learned a lot because that was my first time doing it. All you have to do is just basically not be afraid and do it. And I suggest looking at reference of a realistic bee, not a cartoonish bee, if you want to do something more realistic. I didn't draw anything, I kind of went with it and I was looking at my phone as a reference. For that project you will need fabric. I used organza and a little bit of tulle as a base. I also used some threads. I used black thread mainly for this project. I also used silk velvet for the belly of the bee, but to be honest with you, I don't recommend using natural silk velvet because it frays. I didn't realize that and that was a mistake and that made me struggle a little bit. So if you guys are deciding to use velvet, I suggest 100% you should be using velvet, but please don't use natural silk velvet because it's going to fray. And I suggest using a synthetic one because you can burn the edges a little bit and have them melt and avoid fraying. So that's what I recommend. So here I closed the shape with a simple stitch and now I'm stuffing it with a toy filler. You can use even, I think like a cotton ball is fine. As long as you're not going to be washing it, it's totally fine. Anything that will make the belly three-dimensional. So that's what I'm doing right now. After that, I am going to use some crystals, some black rhinestones to go around the belly of the bee to cover my stitches. So that's what I'm going to do next. And I'll see you guys when I make more progress. Enjoy the music. And here I'm pulling a thread through the beads. I actually figured out this thing on my own and later on I found out that it is a technique to align the beads because I watched one of the videos like Christian Dior videos or something when they were hand embroidering a dress and that's what they were doing. So yeah. And then here I'm just creating some stripes using more threads to kind of mimic the pattern that a bee would have. This part was actually super fun to do. I basically created a pom-pom out of the threads and then I attached them to the bee and then I gave it a little haircut. It was super cute and super satisfying to do because I wanted to create the kind of texture that the bee has. Very fluffy, very furry kind of texture. I could have used velvet. You could totally use velvet, but I thought that attaching velvet and then hiding the seams or gluing it, I didn't want to do all of that, so I decided to do a little pom-pom, and I 100% recommend doing that. I feel like I could have done the belly the same way, like the yellow part, but I decided to use velvet instead. In the next section, you'll see me attaching the eyes. I just used 3 crystals for each eye, and then I'm just gonna sew in some legs and whiskers and all that stuff. think one of the most challenging parts was actually coming up with a pair of wings. I, at the beginning, thought I should just embroider them onto the fabric directly, but then I decided that I wanted them to be more three-dimensional. So I thought that, since the wings are clear, pretty much transparent, I decided to use the same organza that I used for embroidery, and then it was just me figuring out how would I create a shape, and then I decided that I should actually add some veins by embroidering, so you guys will see it next. But I'm using a lighter to make sure the fabric doesn't fray. It was pretty difficult to handle because it's very delicate. Like if you mess with it a lot, it's just gonna basically fray and then the whole thing would be destroyed. So I decided to be very careful and use the lighter to seal the edges, and then just added a bunch of threads and embroidered threads individually. So it was very delicate process, but it's super manageable. You guys can totally do that. And this step is optional, but I decided it would be good to add some shading onto the wings, so I used a marker to do that. And finally, the most exciting part is putting it all together. So here you're gonna see me attaching wings to the bee, so it will come alive. Thank you so much guys for watching. I hope I inspired you to create a bee or any other insect, or just to create in general. Please let me know down in the comments below if this was helpful, or if you want me to make more tutorials like that. It was super fun for me for sure. I think the next one I would do would be a dragonfly, using pretty much the same technique. But until then, I'll see you in my next video. Please subscribe and have a wonderful day.